everybody, and welcome to episode 63 of the GVGCast. We've made it. It's the weekend. It's Friday. We've made it. We're here, and we're so happy to be here and vibe with you all. I'm your host for today, Ash Paulson, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends and GVG co-founders, Derrick Bittner and Steve Bowling, as well as our amazing and amazingly cool with his sunglasses, art director, Daniel Alba. Lay it on me, guys. How has your week been?
Well, I was a little concerned at first because I was pretty sure Daniel was doing Weekend at Bernie's. It's like, oh no. Do anybody know that movie anymore? Like, I think that's just a sign of us being old.
I know it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I've only ever seen it once, but I know enough to know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm enough of an oldie. Yeah.
But yeah, throwback.
It's been quite the week, huh? It seems like it's just been kind of busy. I know, Derrick, you've been kind of getting back into the fold of things after your vacation, which I hope it sounds, by the way, like it was awesome. You had a great time.
Yeah, it was very nice, very chill. Just to break it down, every year, I join a bunch of high school friends for a week and just hang out at a house, go to the beach, swim, whatever, and just chill. It's just kind of a catch up, and we've been doing this ever since we graduated. So this is our 20th year of doing this.
Wow, God, that sounds so. I wish my friends would want to do something like that. They aren't into doing. They just want to chill at home and play games, which I'm always down for.
That's all we do. We just play board games and video games. Like I made a pretty decent progress in Zelda.
Yeah.
I played the Lies of P demo. I started World Tour mode in Street Fighter. Haven't done any of that since I got home.
I haven't even started World Tour myself either. Yeah, Daniel. Well, sorry, man. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Not too much, honestly. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 16. That's the game I've been up to the most.
That's what I need to get to.
It gets intense. You already know that by the demo, but it gets intense from that point onwards.
Oh yeah, man. Have you played the demo now? Finally, Ash.
You did, right?
Yes, I did. I played the demo a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Would have
loved to see your reaction to the end.
The last scene of the demo. I was like, oh god, this is really messed up. This is so messed up. Oh, and
it might get more messed up. I don't know. You gotta find out.
I'd be surprised if it didn't. I really want to get to it. That's my next goal. Is the game I want to get to start playing is 16. But if you haven't heard, Zelda's kind of a big game. It kind of has a lot of content. So I'm still very much stuck in Zelda world right now, and it seems like I'm not going to find my way out anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's so good, but there's so much in there.
I'm honestly torn between everything because we have Final Fantasy 16 just came out. There's the Pikmin 1 and 2 came out on GameCube. The demo is out, or the GameCube games came out on Switch on eShop. The Ghost Trick came out. Raincoat came out today. There's too many games. I can't keep up with all this.
We say it every week, but every week it keeps being true. It's just too many games. Yeah.
I have to actively not pick up things. Like after Final Fantasy 16, I think I'm declaring myself done picking up new games until like Super Mario Wonder.
Oh, okay. See, I can't skip fair. Sea of Stars. I can't skip Sea of Stars. I can't.
I don't. It's like I want to play it, but there's only so much time. I want to play Ghost Trick. I want to play Raincoat. There's too many games I want to play, but I need to just pick and choose, and it sucks.
It's definitely tough. I've been playing. I mean, a lot of Zelda, but I've started Final Fantasy 16. I need to get through that. I feel like you can't do a Game of the Year discussion without at least trying it.
Exactly.
But I've only played the first 10 minutes maybe. I have been playing a lot of Zelda, obviously. I think I'm done. I'm ready to move on from Zelda at this point. Because I think if I played any more, I'd be forcing it at this point.
Fair.
Just for completion's sake. Which I don't want to do. I just want to pick it up and play it as I find the desire to do so. And then I've picked up Pikmin 1 and 2. I got that far. I bought them. They're just sitting on my home screen though.
Yeah.
So I kind of regret the purchase insofar as I just don't have the time to play them. But yeah, I think Final Fantasy 16 is probably my next real time sink, aside from obviously Game of the Year, everybody 1-2 Switch.
Obviously. Well,
obviously.
And on that note, actually, before we get to that note, we do actually have to call out our sponsor, our amazing sponsor, week after week, The Game Orb. And The Game Orb is, of course, a YouTube channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. While games like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu can be seen on the channel, along with others, The Game Orb will also now be adding Splatoon 3, Super Mario Sunshine, and Fall Guys to the gaming collection. So please do subscribe to The Game Orb at the link in the description, and of course I also pasted the link in our YouTube chat as well, so I say it every week, but please go check out their content, subscribe to their channel. They have been supporting us at our top Patreon tier from the very beginning of GVG's existence. So thank you so much, The Game Orb. And now, back to you, Steve. I think we're all surprised, right? Because you played Everybody 1-2 Switch today with our community in our Discord. And apparently it's great. You like it.
Yeah, so, I mean, and by I think everyone in the gaming community was probably wrong about this game.
Yeah.
I was expecting it just to kind of be a throwaway release that was not very good. I'm really impressed by what Nintendo has put together here. It's a surprisingly competent party game. It feels completely different than the original 1-2 Switch, and I mean that in a very complimentary way. I think 1-2 Switch was very much Nintendo desired that kind of vehicle to showcase all the bells and whistles that the Switch had, like the IR camera, the HD rumble, stuff like that. Nintendo has been a big fan of these technological showcase pieces since the Wii. But 1-2 Switch was clearly not the Switch's Wii Sports moment. Whereas Everybody 1-2 Switch doubles down on kind of the casual nature of the original, and it leans into what I would call the modern party game genre, in that you can have 100 players just playing on their phones with one copy of the game. It truly doesn't feel like Nintendo's usual aggressive monetization policy, where they're you got 100 people, you need 100 copies to play. And surprisingly enough, our patrons, about 30 of us, we got together and we played, and there was universal praise for it. We played one of my favorite games, and it was one that really shows, almost in a weird way, Nintendo's like character arc, their growth. Was a game that you couldn't play using the Switch or the Joy-Cons. You had to use a phone, and it was a color matching game. So it would flash a color up on screen, and then you had to find something in your surroundings and take a picture of it to match to the color as closely as possible.
Weird.
And the winner would be the person who got like the closest match. And it's such a simple, dumb idea, but it worked so well, and like everybody pretty much agreed that was like one of the best experiences we had while we were playing.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound like anything that Nintendo would put out, honestly.
No.
Using mobile phones and only phones and just having 100 players in it. It's like a version of Jackbox, it sounds like, more or less.
It truly is. And one thing that I found interesting is certainly the marketing images did Everybody 1-2 Switch no justice, but the host, his head is not just a mask. I'm sure that when they filmed it, it was a mask, but they like actually animated it, so the eyes aren't like these creepy unblinking eyes.
That's
okay.
And so like he's very animated. I wouldn't say he's like funny, but he's charming, like in a WarioWare kind of way. Like they did a good job of actually giving it some personality and not just making it like a creep in a tuxedo wearing a horse head mask. Overall, the menu design is really slick. There's still a lot of modes to uncover. There is some weird Nintendo stuff where like you can only unlock mini games by encountering them randomly through party, because like you get a roulette wheel and it just randomly stops on a game. So there's definitely still some weird Nintendo quirks. I don't want to say it's completely free of them, but it was surprising. Like I want to go back and play a lot more of it, and I imagine it's actually going to become a staple in our executive producer gameplay sessions month to month, because the audience feedback was actually really positive. They're like, we want to do this again, and I was like, I thought we were all just gonna laugh at this game and be like, well, that was fun, never again. And now I'm really glad I have it.
That's cool.
That's good to hear.
I'm honestly really shocked. I would not have expected that.
I think we all are.
Didn't expect this.
I read Imran's report from forever ago, and it nailed all the details of the game, but I'm actually kind of surprised, unless a lot changed between when Imran
maybe they just went
report.
through a lot of rigorous testing and trying to like get it actually in good shape.
The final product, I feel almost bad for it because Nintendo didn't really give it a lot of shine. Like, they didn't market it, hardly at all. I feel like the game was definitely sent out to just die, but I think it's a good party game to have in your back pocket.
I wonder if that
Wow.
word of mouth, people just like, let's check this out for a laugh and be like, oh, damn. And then that sort of carries it a bit. I don't know.
It definitely is a vastly superior game to the original 1-2 Switch. I'll say that. I don't know what Nintendo's. I think it's what, $40, $50.
I think I saw 30.
Yeah, 30, I believe.
I mean, for 30, yeah, it's. I didn't even pay attention. I just used a gift card to buy it. Yeah, $30. So, for that, it's a steal in my opinion.
Hell yeah!
I mean, a half price game. I definitely wouldn't use a voucher on it. Don't do that.
Right.
No.
Right.
But it's definitely worth. I think it's a good game to have if you like Jackbox style games.
All right. I might, you might have actually put it on my radar for the next big gathering I have. I don't know that that'll be anytime soon, maybe my birthday or something. But when I do have one, might be fun to have around. I mean, certainly we're going to try it in our EP squad hangouts, because as you were saying, Steve, people were begging for it apparently. So I'm going to try it, and I'm looking forward to it now. I'd never thought I'd be saying that, but I'm looking forward to trying this. Now, Daniel, for something significantly less surprising, I know that you have been playing the Pikmin 4 demo, and I don't think anyone's going to be surprised to find out that you probably are enjoying it. Am I correct in that assessment?
This is a wonderful little package of a demo right here. Yeah, it's a beefy one too. It's like 2-3 hours. It could be around that length because it's just like a certain amount of collectibles they want you to get before you end the day, and then that's where the demo ends. But yeah, do I spoil what's in the demo at this point? Does that even count as spoilers? There's not really
I don't think there can be spoilers for Pikmin games personally, and I'm usually pretty spoiler sensitive.
To be vague, it kind of retcons some of the games essentially when you watch the intro, because it does a hard, cold open. You play as Olimar, and you're and it completely changes what Pikmin 1's story was, because in that version of the game, that's where Olimar meets the little green Ochi puppy, that version. So it kind of confirms some things you heard in the trailer. But essentially, after you get through that first opening area, you go to you're like the rescue team for the rescue team. You're that one character. You create your character. You go to the planet. You meet Ochi. You meet some of the first captains, and a lot of things that made Pikmin what it was, they turn it on its head. One of the major things about that game is that you can only have 20 Pikmin out at first, only 20. And you have to actually find an upgrade for your onion to increase that to 30 and then to 40 and so on. So what's interesting is that it's so interestingly crafted for people that are new to the series, because it's like I can see how if you have 100 all at once, it's very overwhelming at times. But if you have only 20, you're very mindful of all your actions.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think I'm just
the
lost
hype,
Daniel a little
the
bit.
hype police muted Daniel.
I know.
That's
Daniel's a robot now.
He's working on it.
he's working.
No
on it.
worries.
Yeah,
No
I think that was more of a local thing.
Oh,
Pikmin
look.
4 good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill in the dead air.
Well, while he works on his audio, I can read out. Oh, what?
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, I figured I'd read out a few super chats.
Okay, I think we got Daniel back though.
Oh, are you back? Okay, cool.
It figures out what happened while I'm actually discussing something. But yeah, anyways, I'll try to keep it short. It's very mindfully crafted for people that are new to the series. And also it's very wordy, unfortunately. Like if you're a veteran, like, oh my gosh, please stop talking, let me do what I want to do. But if you're a kid that's getting into it, it will be a perfect entry point for anyone who wants to get into Pikmin. And just it's so charming. It's so lovely the way that everything's made. The perspective really does a difference, because it's not so far out. You're kind of just closer in there, and that makes it feel more personal, because it's really close in. And you have of course you have the smaller amount of Pikmin. You can meet the ice Pikmin. You can collect the yellow Pikmin. And you just get a good idea for the mechanics of the game. It's lovely. There's a lot of small quality of life changes that roll into a much better experience that you would have in the other games, even compared to Pikmin 3. I thought I was going to miss having the other captains and like the having them split around, but you can eventually upgrade Ochi to kind of do the same things that those captains could do, and even more. So it's
Nice.
a lot of elements into this game, and I'm really excited to play more of it.
That's awesome. I've heard
So-
pretty much nothing but positive impressions, much like yours across the board. Also, John, although John did share your sentiment that it's too wordy, he was like, I got to the point where I was just skipping dialogue because it was just so damn wordy. So that was something he said as well. But as I've always said, I'm not a big Pikmin guy myself, but this is the one that I think might pull me in more than any other, just because of the more third-person perspective as opposed to the kind of overheads. I'm not really into strategy games as much. But you've got, the more behind the shoulder perspective. You got Ochi. They're doing stuff that might pull a non-fan like me in, had I the time to play, Pikmin 4 and just experiment with it.
Yeah. It really, like, there's a moment where where it tutorializes everything, right? But it has also explained things to you. So the one part where I I was on Ochi, and my Pikmin are also on Ochi, and I see something across water. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna swim over there. I jump in the water. You have to teach Ochi to swim first.
Oh no!
So, I love that.
So I jump in, and then there's a cutscene saying, "Oh no, Ochi is drowning. Please call him so he doesn't drown." And then it goes back, and then it says, "Oh no, your Pikmin are drowning. Call your Pikmin back before they drown." I'm just like, "Stop! Let me save my everybody, please." So it's a little overbearing with tutorializing pretty much everything, and like you go somewhere, you take 5 steps, and they have to like call you and say, "Hey, here's this thing." But eventually, it does get more hands off, and I'm assuming you'll be more so once you get acclimated to the game. So.
That's fair.
But yeah,
I'm surprised I haven't seen more people sharing their Pixonas. I don't know.
there's
Oh,
honestly
that's right.
there's not a lot of options. Honestly,
That
it's
might
a
be
little
why.
it's a little bit blander than I thought. Like there's like 4 body types, and then they all have their own like maybe 8 or so faces, 6 or so hairstyles, and yeah, it's not as varied as we thought it would be. I think, but it does enough. It does the job.
Well, nice. I'm certainly. I do at least plan on checking out the demo. I don't know if or when I'll ever get to play the full game. Like I said, Zelda, Final Fantasy.
I still need to play Pikmin 2 and 3, although I'm going to be playing 2 soon-ish.
Right.
You'll
I've
enjoy
played
too.
every Pikmin game, and I love them. I wouldn't call myself like a hardcore fan, but I'm a casual fan at worst, at least. And I'm just dying to play this demo. This for me is like a like top 10 game of the year type of deal for me. Like Pikmin is always an event for me. Like they're very brief experiences compared to most other games that I get this excited over. But I kind of like it for that. Like it's a good change of pace. Like I played through Pikmin 3 on both the Wii U and the Switch. And I want to play Pikmin 1 and 2 again, but with the 4 demo right there, I'm definitely going to that first. I don't know. It's just such a nice little change of pace, and I think I probably fell victim to the fact that this is one of the few games that Miyamoto is still very hands-on with, and so I appreciate at least that about it. But I think they've always been really fun games. Is Daniel? Do you know from the demo if the timer is back? Like, is this one a
I
race
think I've
against
heard
time
that there's
like
no
one?
timer whatsoever.
There's no like Pikmin 1 where there's like a 30-day timer. There's none of that. It's just however many days you take. But there's the usual like day to night
day
timer.
night.
Yeah. There's no exploring the nighttime sequence quite yet. But but you do get to experience pretty much everything outside of that, at least for this one first area at least. So
Nice.
Cool.
I might try to sit down tonight with the demo and play it. I wanted to have it ready so that I could talk about it on the Win this week, but I just didn't find the time. But hopefully by next week I'll be able to actually sit down and give it a fair shake, because I'm ridiculously excited to play Pikmin 4. It's right around the corner too.
It's
I know.
super close.
You can even participate in the Dandori battles. Like there's a Dandori battle you can participate in,
cool.
and also just a 1-player challenge that's kind of like Dandori, but you're in a set space to do this. So they interestingly mix in extra modes and multiplayer into the game itself. As we already know about Dandori, but Cutie Caitlin, Daniel Dory battle, They're fun. Like they're actually really engaging, and it's like a whole arcadey shoot for a high score sort of thing. There's a lot in the demo. It's a meaty demo. So you have a lot to do in that one for sure.
Very cool.
Man, I can't
Nice.
wait.
Well, one thing I guess I can quickly mention that pertains specifically to me and Derrick is that the latest round of Theatrhythm DLC just came out. It's the first mana pack. It has like some Secret of Mana, Trials of Mana, Adventures of Mana, all the good Mana stuff. And I've already, I'm sure you're not surprised, Derrick, I already played through all the songs on Ultimate.
I'm behind.
I know you're behind, but they're super fun, man. I mean, I haven't played them all on Expert, but I have played them all on Ultimate, and they're super fun. Good stuff in there. So when you can get there, I think you're gonna really enjoy it. Well, with that said, we have some super chats, but right before that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our patron Michael McCaw because their birthday was this past Monday, the 26th. Happy
birthday.
Belated birthday, Michael McCaw. Yeah. And all right, so our first super chat actually comes from last week because Alan Wilkinson sent a super chat at the very, very tail end of last week's show during the executive producer readout. So I missed it, and I promised that I would make a note and read it out this week. So Alan Wilkinson with £2 from last week. Thank you so much, Alan. Waluigi game when? When? I'm honestly surprised there hasn't been one yet. I feel like it's got to happen at some point.
Maybe it's getting closer because Daisy and Wonder, but
yeah. I don't know. I feel like
playable?
I think it'll happen eventually. He's such for some reason, both of them are such fan favorite characters. I feel like it's inevitable, like Thanos. Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll happen. When? Who knows? Probably not anytime particularly soon, though.
No.
All right. Next up, our first super chat from this week, Lizard81288 with $2. Thank you so much. Asking, what do you think about the Skullgirls controversy? And I was very, very stealthily looking this up while you all were talking about Pikmin just to make sure I knew what we were talking about. Honestly, Lizard, I think you already know what we think about it. It's the fact that there even is a controversy is absurdly stupid because the controversy is they removed some allusions to Nazism in some of the character designs. They made certain characters less sexualized, and they, made certain tweaks that are relevant to racial sensitivity. All of these are good things. In my opinion, they're all objectively good things. I think we all would probably agree.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was looking at this as well, and it's not like they made it like a completely chaste game. There's artwork throughout the single player modes, and they've changed the artwork for some of those, and there's still plenty of panty shots. Like you're not. Oh no, we went from 6 to 3. If that.
What a thing to get upset about. Yeah.
Just you're moving so fast you can't even notice them half the time. It's like, what is there to honestly complain about by removing some of them from some singular frames?
Just imagine that the hill you're dying on is, man, that Nazi adjacent symbolism got removed from this game, and that makes me mad. The fuck? Like, I can't.
We don't even need to. Yeah,
we don't even need to
let's not waste our time
let's
on
not.
it. To me, it's controversy for controversy's sake.
Exactly. Next up, a pair of super chats from Disney Duncan. Thank you so much. First off, $2. Saw Indiana Jones 5 last night, and it was great. I've been hearing actually surprisingly good things, especially compared to the fourth movie.
I've not heard anything, but I'm hopeful because, man, I wish the fourth movie was good.
Yeah. This is where I show my whole ass here, not literally, but by saying that I have not seen any of the Indiana Jones movies. I don't know. I just
as bad as Amy. I gotta show. They're on Disney Plus now. Go watch them.
I've seen like bits and pieces of them, but I haven't seen any.
They were
any
such
of them all the way
a mainstay
through.
of like TNT back in the day.
No, I'm gonna watch them.
Actually, there they were.
I was telling my wife that I really want to sit down and watch all of them because I just now that the fifth one is out, it's the last one. I want to have that like space in my movie history, filled. I want to see these movies, have an opinion on them, and I've heard some pretty interesting stuff or surprising stuff happens toward the end of 5. So I don't know, but
you can skip 4. Just trust me on
I've
that
heard,
one.
I've heard
just skip it.
You don't need to see that one.
2
has
really
its
issues, but I love it.
Okay. Yeah, no, my wife had to see 4 with one of her friends, and she told me about the freezer scene or whatever, or the fridge freezer scene, and I was like...
That's not even the most egregious thing
about
the movie.
Oh, God.
But...
Okay. All right. Well, I have to see that one too then, because you know me, I love bad movies, so or hilariously
well, then
bad
you
movies.
are gonna love that one.
Yeah. And then Duncan's other super chat, also for $2. Thank you. Saw the new FNAF movie trailer. Can't wait. Five Nights at Freddy's, of course. It looks cool. I'm not a FNAF guy, but it looks like it could be fun.
It looks like they're adapting the first game, which, sure.
Cool. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Next up, Blaker36 with $2. Thank you. Is that Dark Daniel? Referring, of course, to what you were looking like in the intro, Daniel.
Yes.
Is that Dark
Yes.
You? It is. All right.
It is.
Then there it is.
I
next
cannot
up,
see anything.
Duncan back again with another $2. Thank you so much. I'm thinking what you mean is, do we find Tears of the Kingdom story better than Breath of the Wild's? No, not better. Immeasurably better. It is so much better, it's not even funny.
I have not unlocked all the cutscenes yet, but I have found all of the geoglyphs. Holy hell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It goes places. I just found my last geoglyph the other day, and that scene that you get after you find it, whew, goes places I did not expect. I'm not, of course not going to go into it here, but
Nope. Not
yeah,
saying
Tears of the
anything
Kingdom,
beyond that.
Not saying anything.
No story details whatsoever.
Nope.
But yeah, I'll just, as one of the folks on the panel who has finished the game, yeah, way better.
Hell
way,
yeah.
way better.
Next up, Tinker with $5. Thank you very much. Just got out of a therapy session and feeling great. Reminder that therapy is for every stage of your life, not just when it goes dark. Y'all take care. Hell yes. Could not agree more. Preach.
Good on you.
Well said. Good for you. Completely agree. Next up, an incredibly generous super chat from Bry Lewis 97 for $50. Thank you so much, Bry. Getting to catch a GVG cast live is always a treat. Never disappoints. Always gets better each week. Wishing all of you and yours a wonderful weekend.
you.
Much love. Well, thank you so much,
you.
Bry. That is incredibly generous of you and so kind. Thank you. Then one last one for now. Jaden Buck with $5. Thank you, Jaden. Crazy Question Fridays. Crazy question number 88. What is the most loyal thing a Pikmin could do for you?
Die.
Wow, man.
I mean, when you think about it, it is kind of the ultimate act of loyalty.
I mean,
that's true.
And Olimar has him do that a lot.
Yeah, you want me to what? You want me to drown? Oh, okay. You're just on your phone reading a tutorial.
I know. Man, you know what? Deep clean our apartment whenever we need it, because we just hate the act of spring cleaning, deep cleaning. If I could just have Pikmin, I don't need a Pikmin to die for me, but if they would just clean and make immaculate our entire apartment every few months or so, I'm good.
Every time I see a group of them carrying a battery, I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Like, if somebody presented me with something like 13 times my height, my immediate response would not be, I'm going to round up the homies and we're going to carry this back to your apartment for you, bro. I'd be like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm going
Imagine
home.
having them just. Hey, imagine just bringing everything that I need to me. I'm just sitting on my bed, bring my controller, bring the remote control, or you're sitting on the toilet. Please bring me the toilet paper. It ran out. Please,
Pikmin
you're
are like the
my
best
saviors.
friends ever, and Olimar is like the worst friend ever. He's like, not only am I going to make you do all my chores, I'm going to throw you at the things I need you to do for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I need you to kill my enemy. Here.
My enemy. Well, those of you who have sent super chats since this one, don't worry. As always, we're going to read them out throughout the show, but we do have a little news to talk about this week, so let's go ahead and move right on to that. And I'm going to start us off with something that's happening actually right here in my backyard, right here in Los Angeles over the weekend, and that is Anime Expo 2023. Specifically, Bandai Namco are having their summer showcase panel tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. I might be there. I might be able to score a free badge. We'll see. And if so, I'm going to go check it out myself. But they are teasing exciting announcements and game reveals. And Daniel and Steve, I want to throw this to you two first, because of course, Steve, there's probably going to be a Dragon Ball something at least announced. And Daniel, maybe something on the Tales of front. I've heard something about some Tales of Arise something. I didn't think it was supposed to have DLC, but I saw something out there. So I want to throw it to you guys. Steve, let's get started with you. What specifically would you maybe like to see announced here? Are you maybe hoping for on the DBZ or any front?
I was going to say, I'm actually not expecting brand new game announcements, only because we just got Sandland and we know Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is
we might
in
get
active
gameplay
development.
of Budokai.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Gameplay for Budokai Tenkaichi 4 would go over huge at Anime Expo. So that's what I'm hoping to see. I want to see some gameplay of that. They've had almost 10 years to show us that, because the last proper Dragon Ball game outside of Kakarot was Xenoverse 2. and that was on PS3.
PS4. I believe. PS4. I have it on PS4.
Was it? I thought we got. Yeah. I think you're right. Xenoverse 1 was PS3. I think. I can't remember.
I have it on PS4 as well. So
yeah.
I think yeah.
Xenoverse 1 was cross-gen. It did PS3
okay.
and PS4. Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking. So, but either way, Xenoverse 2 came out like before the Switch was out, because we got a port of it
And
like,
it's still
like a
getting
couple months
content.
into the Switch's life, and it's still getting DLC. So they've had a lot of time to work on a new proper fighting game. And so I imagine that Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is probably further along than that first trailer led us to believe. And Anime Expo would be a guaranteed like pop-off moment for everybody who's there to really get into that.
For sure.
Yeah, I just don't see any new anime games coming. I think we just get updates on stuff that has barely been shown, like Sandland and Budokai Tenkaichi 4.
Cool. And then, go ahead.
No, let Daniel talk. It's fine.
Okay, well, I wanted to set this up for you, Daniel. So I had been reading something about, this was apparently announced or trademarked alongside We Love Katamari Reroll and Royal Reverie back in December 2022. It's something called Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn. Now, I thought we had talked about what was something that was so cool about Tales of Arise was that they was going to be a complete, like, no DLC. They were just going to tell the story, and that's it. What's going on here? What is this? Do you think we might see it? Learn me, man. What's going on here?
I feel like this could be an anime.
Okay.
There are so many Tales games that have anime adaptations, from Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss has a whole series. Vesperia has a prologue movie. Tales of Hysteria has... Actually, the better way to experience the game is through that retold way, is through the animated series, controversial or not. But I know they mentioned that they don't want to have any DLC or anything extra attached to this game. So I can't imagine it's a new story, especially this far out after the game had already come out a couple of years ago at this point.
What are the chances of this being a direct sequel, kind of like Dawn of the New World for Symphonia?
It might. That's a possibility. I mean, we haven't heard anything of any new Tales game from then. I mean, we've had the remaster of Tales of Symphonia, and we know how that went. But beyond that, Arise is already out on pretty much every major console except for Switch. I don't really imagine it would come for Switch. It could. That could be something they announced, but under a new name. I don't know why. Yeah, it must be something. It could either be a sequel or an animation. I'm going to bank on one of those two, most likely.
Let's get a remake of some of those older Tales games as well, that we've never gotten.
That's what I yelled about in my video. I want to either remake, properly remake Tales of the Abyss, because it's only on PS2 and the 3DS at this moment. We're getting a lot of 3DS games now. And the Tales of Destiny Director's Cut, because that was never translated in English. And that would be, that's the golden... goose of what we want as Tales fans.
I mean, I think I can put this out there. Before I realized, oh God, Zelda's coming out soon, and I was still in the middle of working on it. I'm about halfway through the script of a Tales of retrospective, and when I saw Tales of Destiny, I'm like, this looks good. Like that.
Yes,
that one stood out to me from those early Tales games. Like, holy crap, this looks good.
There's I still remember. At the very beginning, I said, Derrick, there are a lot of Tales games. I mean, and then you asked me something, and I think I directed you to like the 5 niche mobile games just to add on to that list very casually. There's a lot of Tales.
I did it. I've found all kinds of Tales games that are dead, gone, doesn't exist anymore. Old school flip phone Tales games, like holy hell.
Old school. The new ones like Tales of Link or Tales of Cristoria that aren't even doing anything right now. Yeah, it's a lot, but we'll see. I imagine we'll see some kind of Tales announcement in some capacity. If it's the Beyond the Dawn, that's probably the most likely one. But
the interesting thing about this, while you guys have been talking, I looked up the trademark for this, because Ash was kind of mentioning how that's how he came aware of it. The NICE classes in Europe for these are 9 and 41. And both of those heavily imply that it's a video game.
Oh. The plot thickens.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really like they mentioned video games more than anything else in the 2 classes under which they trademarked Arise or Beyond the Dawn in Europe. And that trademark was apparently granted today. So
Wow.
yeah, very interesting.
You
stuff.
might be getting a direct sequel. Did Arise do well? I never looked at the financials for it.
I don't know if it did well,
did
but
do all
damn,
right.
it was good.
Did you play through the whole game, Steve?
I didn't finish the game. I got about halfway through and other stuff came up. But it's one of those few games where I put it down and I've just been dying to go back.
I have it right here. Like I said, I'm going backlog as soon as whenever I finish 16. If Wonder is not out by yet, I'm working on backlog. That's my goal.
Yeah, Arise was good. It was a solid title. It's probably in the middle-ish somewhere of the Tales games that I played, but yeah, it's interesting because the way it ends, I don't know. It kind of wrapped up pretty nicely. I don't know where it would go for a sequel, honestly. But
I wonder if it's a prequel instead of a sequel.
There's room for a prequel for sure because the way
Yeah.
they explore the two different worlds. Yeah, gosh. If you hear anything about this game, it's how they really back-ended a lot of plot towards the very end of the game, which was a little rough to deal with. But it overall a good experience, and I'm curious to see what this turns into.
Cool.
Yeah.
Derrick, anything that you would like to comment on with this? Anything you'd like to potentially see from this?
You know what? I know it's not. It's an anime panel, but or showcase because it's Anime Expo. Good chance for a new Tekken character. You know what? You know what would fit into this? Here comes Lucky Chloe.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect for that.
That'd be
Yeah,
rad.
that would be perfect. Yeah, we'll probably get a Tekken 8 reveal. That would
Yeah,
surprise
it's
me.
some sort of Tekken 8 thing. I as far as other stuff, you know, does Bandai Namco have the One Piece thing? Let's get a fighter's version for One
They
Piece.
do.
That would be cool.
I'd be down for that.
That would do amazingly well, I bet.
I think that would look gorgeous, especially Luffy's attacks. Like, oh my god, I'd be down
man.
for a One Piece fighter.
Luffy the Dalsim of that game.
Yeah.
My impossible anime fighter dream that I'm pretty sure Steve and only Steve and I share is the Ranma 1/2 equivalent of Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Can you even imagine how hype that would be?
I don't see that one happening.
Oh, it'll never.
Yeah,
no, that's
no, it
impossible.
definitely
Not unless we get a new
Never
series.
going to happen. Yeah, which probably also isn't going to happen. Unfortunately, as much as I like, I love Bandai Namco in general. DBFZ is great. I like what I played of Tales of Arise. The announcements I would want are the ones that would never happen here or probably ever, which are like Klonoa 3 and like a Ridge Racer anything. And that's not going to happen here, if it ever happens at all. So I'll go. If I go to AX tomorrow, I'm going to be there, feet on the ground, going to sit in on the panel, but I'm not expecting anything that would specifically appeal to me. But I think some people are going to walk away from that probably decidedly pretty happy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch gears to Nintendo. And hey, we've never speculated about the Switch's successor before, have we? Never. Well, we're about to do it again, or some more, because Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has said that their plan is to try and facilitate a smooth transition for their customers from the Switch to their next generation console, specifically through Nintendo accounts. But they are, of course, remaining coy on the official status of backwards compatibility for now.
This reads to me as a good thing. Like the fact that they're mentioning it at all is a good sign. I feel like the reason they're not mentioning backwards compatibility is because that gives hints about what the console actually would be. And you know how Nintendo doesn't like to give hints like that. I think they know. They know. They have to know. There are so many games and people have so much stuff. Just to have that built-in lineup of stuff that's still selling well on the Switch. Yes. Yeah. Make it backwards compatible.
And specifically during their recent investor meeting, Furukawa mentioned specifically the difficulty of switching customers from one console to the next in the past, and that they had to rebuild the framework each time in the past, and how this time they want to facilitate the easiness as much as possible. Which I agree with you, Derrick. I think that's a good sign that they're basically saying what we all hope they're saying without actually saying it. And that's at least the hope. Steve, I know you are burning to talk about this subject at any point, my friend. What's your read on this, man?
Always. So I said as much on Twitter, and I implied as much in our discussion with John a little while back. Mm-hmm. But I think this further underlines the fact that the Switch successor is a Switch. I think that Nintendo has been pretty coy about, They never talk about their stuff before they're ready to, and I also think that this gives me hope that we're closer to the Switch successor than some of us may think. And the reason for that is that Nintendo is very good at not talking. They're great at it. It's like their number one
Yep.
talent. And when they start to talk, it's like a telltale thing with them. As we get closer to the reveal of a new system, they very slowly begin to talk about that next system in the vaguest of terms, more and more and more. I had retweeted something about the Switch successor, and one of my followers pointed me towards a translation of their most recent investor Q&A, where like 2 of the top 4 questions were about the Switch successor. So Nintendo shareholders are also like, what are you doing? When are we going to know more? Like, please say something. And Nintendo, like any other company, is beholden to their shareholders. So they know when their shareholders are publicly putting their feet to the fire like this, that the public is probably not too far behind. So I think the fact that they're acknowledging it at all, because it's not like this is the first time they've gotten these questions. The fact that they're even beginning to talk about it at all, to me, indicates that, yes, they're aware that like the Switch at 7 years old is not long for this world anymore, that they need to move their audience onto something more powerful. And the one thing that I'm surprised people aren't talking about is that I'm certain 1000% behind the scenes that third-party developers are screaming at Nintendo to introduce something new. Because they recognize the success of the Switch and that they can't afford not to be on it. But I'm sure it's hell to take a PS5 game and put it onto the Switch. Like, in our MK1 preview, I'm legitimately curious how that game's going to look on the Switch and what kind of wizardry they'll have to pull off to get it on there.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Exactly. It sounds as though we're generally all on the same page, though, about us, all kind of being in agreement that this bodes well for their next hardware being pretty much what we're all hoping for, which is a new iteration of the Switch featuring backwards compatibility and not a brand new framework that they're going to have to start from zero from.
Yeah, the combination of talking about games like in vague 2024 terms like Peach, that to me doesn't scream our hardware is on the way out. But on the same token, I can't imagine a world in which in June 2025, let alone 2024, that we're still playing this console. So, I just think that Nintendo's kind of confidence in their software, while kind of out of the other side of their mouth saying like, oh, well, sales are slowing down, and yeah, we're gonna use the same back-end infrastructure for the next platform, to me indicates that it'll be less of like a complete changing of the guard and more of like a, hey, here's a new, more powerful version of this thing we know you like, so here, buy that, please.
Super Switch.
Yeah, give
That's
it to
what
me,
I wanted.
please. I do not want to give up
that.
this concept.
What about you, Daniel?
Same.
I'm not sure if you have anything else to add, but we haven't got your words on it.
If it's not broken, don't fix it. It works, and make it better. You don't need to completely redo the infrastructure, because the transition from Wii U to Switch was very clumsy, and we don't need that again. It's all looking like it's going to be exactly what we want it to be, and that's all positive. So this is going to be a huge library on this successor.
Uh-oh.
Daniel got
He's
hyped
roboting again.
Poor bud.
If you want to hear more of Daniel's beautiful voice discussing the future of the Switch, as Steve did mention, we did, actually, Daniel and I both did a discussion with John about that very topic on the channel, which you can check out. Well, not right now because he's watching the show, but right after the show, you can check it out.
Yeah, go look at it. It's on there somewhere.
Yeah. Are you back with us, Daniel, or are you still in the land of robots?
I am at least
He's with us.
audible.
He's
All right.
audible.
Can't see me.
His. Okay, there we go. We're getting him back.
All right, all good. Well, I just pointed everyone to our discussion that we did with John Daniel, so they'll get to hear plenty more of your thoughts about that subject. But one more subject I want to hear all your thoughts on, and this is not something quite as positive. So, Dragon Quest XII, remember that? It's in development. Apparently, it has been for quite a while. But according to an interview by Noisy Pixel, apparently its development is facing difficulties specifically due to targeting an adult audience. Now, there's always a chance that something could have been lost in translation. I want to make that clear. But that is the word right now, that they're having trouble because they're focusing on an adult audience, which is not something that Dragon Quest has ever really tried specifically to do before. And is this what anyone wants? Is there any Dragon Quest fan out there who just that's what they want, an adult-oriented, edgy Dragon Quest game? Because I don't know. I don't see it.
The whole identity of this series is just the goofy charm that you see in the art style and everything that's already there, the music, the way that, yeah, the monster designs, all that's iconic. How do you make that look more mature and still have it be recognizably Dragon Quest? I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't say for sure right now, but I can't see them retaining that identity while trying to intentionally go towards a new mature audience. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the charms of Dragon Quest thus far, now speaking as someone who's really only finished 11, I've dabbled in some of the others, but 11 is one of my favorite games of all time. It managed to be dark and appeal to a wide range of audiences without specifically being like, this is a mature, dark game. Dragon Quest XI is hella dark, but it's also incredibly charming and welcoming and cozy. It can be multiple things, but it sounds like with this, they're really aiming for that. We have to be mature with a capital M, and do they have to do that?
No, they don't have to.
No.
I mean, that's
yeah,
the easy answer.
Of course not, yeah.
The thing is, nothing related to Toriyama has ever been more than a PG-13.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which drives an even greater fear into me. If Dragon Quest ditches its art style in favor of something else, I don't see the game being popular at all. Yeah, I can't imagine it, but
there are too many traditionalists. There are too many times where they've gone in different directions, and the fan base has been like, no.
Do you think? Sorry, go ahead, Derrick.
No, it just wouldn't work.
Do you think there's a chance that this could be like Dragon Quest's FF16 moment, where not necessarily the art style changes, because you can definitely see FF16's characters, even though they're different in style to something like 13, they still have the square face. They have that square face that that's a square character.
Yeah.
But it's obviously, it's an M-rated game. There's tons of swearing. Chocobos are getting slaughtered. All this crazy stuff. Could that be what's going on here with DQ12, where it's like you still got Toriyama, but it's going to be aged up and it's going to be bloody and swearing and I don't know.
Because I feel like Final Fantasy has kind of given itself that time that we can allow it to change its art style, its direction, in the way that it tells its stories. And Final Fantasy VI it looks way different than what we have now. But even then, it's still like you were saying with Dragon Quest XI, it has its dark themes and its lighter moments. But people we know Dragon Quest it's just known for not really going too far away from its traditional style. And that's just what's weird about this, because I can't see it taking that shift so suddenly from where we've been. So I don't know. It's odd to think about it, thinking of a more mature, like Final Fantasy 16-ish Dragon Quest game.
The thing is, I've gone to the interview directly just because I know how sometimes headlines can sensationalize things, just to get a sense.
Right.
And it's not like Hori focuses on that adult element. It's just because it's saying the interviewer basically says, we got Dragon Quest III HD was announced. Of course, you got your Dragon Quest XII coming, and Hori just says, and this is a rough translation, so it's not exact or anything like that, but just a little more. This time I'm making it for adults, so I'm having a lot of trouble. Where he laughs. There's also a corona misfortune, and it seems like COVID is more of a reason for the delay than anything else, according to this, because they're saying that some of them are still working from home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the translation I read said, this time we are making a game directed toward an adult audience, so we are having a lot of trouble, laughs. And then he mentions coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble. So it's like, I wonder if it's just because of him adapting to making his first mature storyline, but then there's got his first game, the Portopia serial murder case, which does have heavier themes. Like, this is not beyond the realm for Hori. So I don't know. I don't know how it'll end up, but I don't think them going mature is the full reason why it's delayed. I think it's just them still reacting to COVID.
Right. Not the only reason, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
think
as
it's-
always with these. Go ahead.
Yeah, with these Japanese translations, I think it's more just he's trying to figure out the best way of maybe balancing the elements. But until I feel like most of the elements are still going to be there because they even said like didn't they have Toriyama's name somewhere, or Bird, which is Toriyama's company. So I don't think it's going to be
Bird
that
Studio.
different.
Mhm.
And you're right. That was present, I think, in like the announcement trailer for
think you're
12
right.
or something.
Yeah, I think Toriyama Studio is still going to be involved. I think my main question, other than the overall tone we're going for, do you think they're going to do the thing with a capital T? Do you think they're going to step away from turn-based and go into a more action? You don't think so?
I mean,
hope
I'm
not.
not the world's biggest Dragon Quest fan. I think I've played 7, 8, and a bit of 11.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that with Final Fantasy going more of an action RPG route lately, I think Square Enix knows that they need to have a big AAA turn-based RPG in their stable, and I would be shocked if Dragon Quest moved away from it. I think Final Fantasy they're more willing to experiment with because Final Fantasy is not the same level of popularity in Japan as Dragon Quest.
It also constantly reinvents itself since the original.
It's
Dragon
known
Quest
for
has
that.
always been traditional, and Final Fantasy's always changed itself up. As Mito points out, Dragon Quest IX tried to be. I think Dragon Quest IX was originally supposed to be more Diablo-esque, and Japanese fans saw that and were like, no. So they reversed course and changed it up. But they still kept the multiplayer elements to it, but just not Diablo combat. So I think they know that they can't really change it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm in full agreement with all of you, essentially. I mean, yeah, one of the core tenets of Final Fantasy's DNA is that it's known for change. It's known for reinventing itself, trying new weird things. Dragon Quest's DNA is that it is traditional. Beyond all other things, it is traditional.
That's what we have all these spin-offs for.
Exactly. So I agree with all of you, and I hope with all of you on our YouTube and Patron chats that they don't stray away from turn-based, because I think Dragon Quest should stay turn-based for sure. I think pretty much all of us do. So
One last thing, Edward Whalen.
Yeah.
I think you might be on the right. Maybe a bit closer to what was actually going to be. Like, what if the Edge is more like a Dragon Quest Z type thing? So the difference between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z,
Sure,
and that
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is definitely harder, but it's not like that much harder.
Right. Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see more about that and the Dragon Quest III HD2 remake sometime soon-ish. That's coming too at some point, and that's what I really want to play. So
Maybe TGS.
Yeah, maybe. That would be a good place for it. All right, let's read out a few more super chats, and then we'll move on to our patron topics for the week. First off, Rec BCQ with $5 with a very topical question. Thank you, Rec. Any of you watching any anime recently? I'm watching a lot of English dubs because I want to be a professional voice actor.
I think we might have missed a couple.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Titus and
I
Disney
did.
Junction.
Yeah, I refreshed, but I'll go back to those. Yeah. So I want to be a professional VA. In particular, I'm rewatching Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan. Yeah. I want to be watching anime. I just don't have time. All my free time goes to games, so I'm sadly not watching any.
It's weird for me to say this, but I haven't latched onto an anime that I've wanted to watch for a while. Like I still rewatch a lot of old stuff. Guyver, Ranma, Dragon Ball. I can watch anytime. Like that's just good background noise at this point. But I haven't found a new anime in a long time. I'm waiting for Kaiju number 8, even though it looks really bad. Like the animation looks really, really bad, but I love the manga so much, and it's indirectly supporting Brandon Bovia, so I will watch that.
Course.
But yeah, that's probably the only one on the horizon for me that I'm truly interested in watching. I'm open for recommendations though. Cutie Caitlin recommended Konosuba, which just got a 3rd season announced, and I'll be watching the heck out of that because it's hilarious. But
It's a great show.
yeah, I just don't have a ton of I don't have a ton of anime that I'm into right now. So if anybody's got something, throw me a DM because I'm itching for something.
Oh, go ahead, Derrick.
So Amy and I have been doing this thing for a while now, where every night before bed we just watch a single episode of some sort of series. We worked our way through the entirety of the Sailor Moon saga, the original, all 200 episodes of the original, all the movies, the Crystal, all that stuff. She is fully caught up on Sailor Moon, so
Nice.
that was pretty cool. And now we're going through Fruits Basket.
Oh man.
Classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in the
have-
second
she's gonna have
half
all
of
the
the second
feels.
season right now, and I think that's a fine example of very natural voice acting outside the first episode. First episode's a little rough. 2019, Caitlin.
If you're looking for a good like comedic voice acting, Azumanga Daioh, one of my favorites.
Azumanga Daioh
Great
is a
dub.
classic. Another one that I'm wouldn't mind watch. I've heard good things about. Wouldn't mind watching at some point. Was something about kings. Like it's like
Ranking of Kings.
Ranking of
Ranking of
Kings. That's
Kings.
it. I've heard good things
Yeah.
about that one.
That
Wouldn't mind
one's
checking
fantastic. It was fantastic. I watched it.
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
need
mind
to see
checking
that.
that out.
I've not watched it.
Another one we did watch was Keep Your Hands Off Izoken. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I haven't heard that. Okay.
It's about three girls who started an anime club.
Okay.
Nice.
Basically
like
what
that.
it goes into making anime. Last episode was a little for us, but everything else was really entertaining.
One of my best friends, who's just a massive anime head, he watches everything. He also mentioned Ranking of Kings, but he also keeps begging me to watch a new one based on a manga called Oshinoko.
I heard.
And-
I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that. I just know it goes places apparently.
Me too. That's what he says, and he keeps begging me to watch it. But you have to. It's only on High Dive, and I don't want to get another streaming service, and I'm not going to pirate anything. So I want to watch it. Apparently, it's amazing, and as you said, Derek, it goes places. It's on my radar, but I'm not going to get another sub service just for one anime. I'll just have to wait, I guess. But like I said, all my free time goes to games anyway, so just don't have time, unfortunately. Moving back to the 2 super chats I accidentally skipped. Sorry about that, guys. Titus Malvolio, $2. Thank you so much, Titus. Question for you, Derek. Which platform should I play Ghost Trick on?
Any of them?
Any of them?
I
Yeah.
mean, really?
Switch.
I played it originally on 3DS, so I mean, I'm gonna pick it up on the Switch whenever it comes out. It's not a graphically intensive game, and honestly, it's just
Right.
it's a good like. Think of it like a good book that you read at night to just read about a murder mystery type thing. It's just good fun, makes me happy. It's
Nice.
it's a great game. So yeah, I'd probably recommend Switch.
I can't wait to play it on Switch myself. Looking forward to that. Disney Duncan is back with $2 more. Thank you, Duncan. Sephiroth versus Melina from Elden Ring. I have to punt this one because I don't know anything about Melina.
Sephiroth.
Is it?
I
Sephiroth.
don't know anything
Okay.
about Melina, but I have a feeling like she's eventually beaten by a player character, I assume. So I have to go and say with Sephiroth.
Yeah, I mean, Melina is famously defeated by a guy in his underwear with a pot on his head. Sephiroth literally summons a meteor that wrecks the entire solar system just to take you out. So I have to go with Sephiroth.
I would probably just go with Sephiroth just because I'm obviously a big FF fan. But yeah, I can't say that I know the extent of Melina's abilities, but I'm going Sephiroth as well. Sounds like we're all in agreement on that. So, moving on to, God, 3 more super chats by Disney Duncan. I'm going to rapid fire these. Thank you, Duncan. $2. Here's a dream announcement for the panel at Anime Expo tomorrow. Soul Calibur 7. Sure, I'd love to see that.
Gonna
Not
happen.
though.
Soul Calibur
Not gonna
6
happen.
did not sell well.
Yeah, I think Soul Calibur might be lost to the pages of history permanently. We'll see, though. Next up, Switch 2 backwards compatibility or disappointment. You said it. Everyone is going to agree with you on that, including us. And then finally, I heard a rumor that Switch 2 will be as powerful as the PS4 and Xbox One. That came from it was Bobby Kotick just kind of ruminating and guessing that's what he thinks it's going to be. Okay.
I don't
really
trust
care
Kotick.
I don't care what Kotick thinks
No.
anything's going to be. We'll see how that turns out. Steve, what do you think from a tech standpoint? Do you think that has any? Could you see that being the case? No.
I mean,
any thoughts?
so yeah, I mean, realistically, when you think about it, the GPU in the Switch, like the current Switch, is over a decade old because it was an off-the-shelf part that existed for years before Nintendo put it in there. The PS4, as much as I hate to say it, is also a decade old. Like that is a 10-year-old piece of kit. I think that in 10 years, technology has certainly come far enough for a mobile chipset to be able to provide base PS4 level visual fidelity. So yeah, do I think it's possible? Sure. I think we'll honestly get I think we'll get better than base PS4.
I don't think it'll be quite PS5 Series X quality, but it will be better than PS4 Pro, for example.
Exactly. I think through a combination of raw like horsepower and DLSS stuff that didn't exist when the PS4 came out, that we'll get something kind of a true generational leap. Let's put it that way.
Cool. I can see that happening as well. And by the way, that last super chat was actually for $5, not for $2 like the other two. So thank you again, Duncan, for all of your generosity. One more super chat for now from an old friend, and we'll move on to our patron topics. So, $5 Canadian from Bongo Lover. Thank you, Bongo Lover. Just played the FF16 demo. That was freaking insane. I'm buying the game just so I can watch a certain person get humbled. Duncan and Danimals, please. I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for that, Bongo Lover, and I will read out the rest of the super chats before the end of the show. But for now, it is time to discuss our patron topic for the week. And as a reminder, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/gvgaming, and if you head over there and support us at the producer tier or above, you can suggest topics like the ones we're about to discuss right now. And Derrick, you've been on vacation, so why don't you get us started this time, man?
Sure. Mine comes from Wataniac, who asks, what's a show / movie / game you watched or played as a kid that was not recommended for someone your age? Lots of games. Movies I didn't see for a while. I was still younger when I was finally allowed to watch R-rated movies, but I was more like 14, 15, but I was like 11, 12 when I was playing, trying out games like Resident Evil and Parasite Eve and that sort of stuff. I was allowed to go a little bit harder with video games, and honestly, in retrospect, it's still kind of tame. The transformation sequences in Parasite Eve are probably the most grotesque part, but even then, it's not that bad.
Right.
Think of the rat initially and that sort of thing, or all the people catching on fire.
As you do. People catching on fire.
Yeah, Yeah. Although I still remember when I swear the entire marketing behind Parasite Eve 2 was she has a shower scene.
Yeah, it totally was. And I remember there was so much consternation too about the sperm bank subplot of Parasite Eve 1, and people were like, "Oh, that's really mature content there." And it's like, man, compared to people, self-immolating and rats exploding into guts everywhere, that's pretty tame. But I remember there was a little consternation about that back then.
That's funny. What about you guys?
I have a pretty epic answer for this one. So, like you, Derrick, I was pretty much I was mature for my age as a kid. My parents never really had any issue with me playing violent video games or watching R-rated movies. I saw Pulp Fiction when I was 13 or something.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
But
Mortal Kombat when I was 8.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was all fine on that end. But topically, on the anime front, my dad really helped. Once he saw me getting into anime, he really helped facilitate that. He would he thought that was the coolest thing, that I found something I love so much. And I was watching Ranma One Half. That was my gateway anime. I was watching that at around probably 12 years old, probably a little young for that, 11, 12. But whatever. Ranma's one thing. But so we kept watching stuff together, and he would go to Blockbuster. I'm aging myself here, and bring back some anime movies for us to watch together. Father son fun times. So
did you get an anime called Ninja Scroll?
That's where I'm going. That's exactly I'm going with this.
You just reminded me about renting Ninja Scroll as a young adult. Not I'm not telling my parents what was in this because holy hell.
So one night he came home with I must have been 12 or 13, and he came home with Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, want to watch some anime?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." So it was over 2 nights.
You watched it with him? Oh, you poor thing.
Yep. I sure did. So I watched Ghost in the Shell. There's a little nudity in there, whatever. That was fine. But then we start watching Ninja Scroll, and we didn't finish Ninja Scroll because by the first scene, you know what I'm talking about, the thing. And he was just like, yeah, maybe this isn't really the most appropriate thing for us to be watching. It was so uncomfortable, and I'll never.
I was fine watching that on my own, but I can't imagine watching that with family at that age.
Oh my God. I'm even thinking about the image in my head right now. I'll never get that image
Dude,
like out
there's
of my
so many
brain.
images in that movie. It's a
And just
great
like
movie, but it goes hard.
once I realized what was happening, again, as like a 12-year-old or 13-year-old, once I kind of put together what was happening, my dad was kind of looking at me and I was kind of looking at him and the screen, and he was just like, yeah, maybe this isn't the most appropriate thing for us to be watching. It makes me sick to my stomach now just even thinking about how embarrassing and just mortifying it was. And everyone knows in chat, in the YouTube chat, everyone's like, "Oh my God, LMAO!" Yeah, it was as bad as you're thinking. It was, yeah.
That's
So
rough.
that's my story for that question.
Can anybody top that one? Because I'm impressed.
Nope. Nope. I was just gonna say
No.
Mortal Kombat, man. I played Mortal Kombat. Ooh.
Yeah, that was. Well, oh, go ahead, Daniel.
Oh no, I mean, I'm squeamish. I try to stay away from that stuff. So I would see my family members, my cousins, they would play all the in hindsight, it's not even that bad. But like I remember I mentioned before, I was forced to see them play Mortal Kombat on my N64.
Oh yeah.
And they like someone fell into a pit of spikes, and that just terrified me. It scarred me just to watch that visual, even though there's just a bunch of polygons. And then like going to my other cousin's place, they would be playing Resident Evil. I forgot which one, but they were playing on their PS1, and it was just like, I'm just gonna go back home and play Paper Mario or something instead. So yeah, I don't really,
So
yeah,
pure.
I don't really watch.
It's very pure.
Didn't
as
really
an
put
anime
myself in there.
Yeah, but as an anime fan, Ash unlocked that memory. There were so many. It was like you could go to a rental store and see all those, and like, yeah, as long as the cover's okay, you can kind of get away with it with your parents. So they're like sure,
Yeah.
because I had a TV in my room and I was in the basement, so they didn't.
Oh, nice.
There's no way they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I didn't tell
remember-
them. It's like that was good. Did you like it? Yeah, it was good.
I remember being at Blockbuster and like seeing the whole anime show. I'm just like, there's a lot of stuff I want to watch, but I don't know.
You notice
Parents
they
are
always,
just-
I swear, at least, especially when I was buying it myself, they always put anime next to the porn section.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
That's like an old thing in video stores that most of our audience probably doesn't know about, but like there used to be, mostly at like more like smaller video rental shops, but there used to be a porn section like in all of them, and they would be like, well, some stores just wouldn't cover them up at all. Like you could
No.
just see pornos right next to whatever, right? But then if they did bother to cover it up, it was always in the most lazy and objectively, in my opinion, because by the time I was an adult, this was no longer a thing, in the most shame-inducing way possible. Like they'd have like a curtain drawn around the porno that you had to like go into, and you could just see people's feet under there, and you're like, you horny bastard.
Yeah.
I
Pulling
feel
the curtain.
there has to be a different kind of down bad that you need to be to walk into a store and purposely exist in a section solely for horny people.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh,
Oh, well, thank you for that trip down memory lane with Taniac. That
no
was
kidding.
that was a
Wow.
lot of fun. All right, Daniel, why don't you get us going next, man?
Let's see here. As long as my camera doesn't crap out on me. Let's see. Mine is from Vedron asking, with Raincoat coming out today as a new IP from the Danganronpa devs and retaining a lot of elements from that series, I've been thinking about when a series should actually end. When do you feel a series has gone on too long and should reinvigorate itself? Danganronpa has told its full story with the creators and have moved on. Which series do you feel this way about? It's interesting that you do mention Danganronpa because that the way that series ends, obviously I won't spoil it. I mean, Derek's playing through a game right now.
I just started too.
That series has an ending, and it's very divisive, and I think it's off the walls. It's crazy. You're in for something, Derek, when you get to the end of that series,
Oh,
for
boy.
sure. But it does kind of wrap it up, and it wraps it up at a good point because sometimes series they go on too long with their narratives or lore. It becomes too much of itself. I think. Would you think Metal Gear Solid falls in that category because there's so much terminology, there's so much to the lore, to boss, big boss, the outer heaven.
It
Louis
should have
Fox.
ended after MGS4.
Absolutely, for sure in the last one.
It's gone on that's an example of one that I think that it had its own pocket story and it just keeps going. At least when it moved on from 4, I'm just like, yeah, this is a series that could have just stopped right here, but yeah, the series like that, I mean, it's good to know when to stop. If you do like a trilogy, even within its own series, like a series within its series, kind of like Xenoblade, Xenoblade Chronicles has it wrapped up in a pretty nice place as well. I'm glad that they're gonna kind of move onward from that. But yeah, it's very important to know when to stop a series. I think if they reinvigorate and reiterate itself, it's fine if it's different enough.
God of War did that, actually. God of War is a very good example of that, where it's wrapped up and it was good. And I was like, I'm fine with no more after this. And then all of a sudden, here's the new set. And I'm like, this works.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a way it's done correctly. But anyone else have any other examples like God of War?
What should
Man.
Or ones that should have ended.
I think
Assassin's
MGS
Creed.
is a great. Oh, is that? Yeah, there you go.
MGS is such a good one. That's a great call out.
Yeah.
God, I can't. I can think of ones that I want to come back all day, but it's really hard to be like that one. You're done.
You know, it's funny.
Because I think about it, like, I was like, Resident Evil's gone for a long time, but also, I don't want Resident Evil to end. I keep enjoying it.
Right. It's funny. I'm going to give you all a double mega mention for this answer, because Mega Man is an example of one that does it right and one that does it wrong. Like Mega Man X, I love X. Should have ended at X5, and it was originally supposed to, because you can tell that X6 and beyond. I mean, X8's a fine game, but the story had no idea what the hell it was doing after X5. It should have ended at X5, as was the original plan. They did that wrong. Mega Man Zero, on the other hand, it ended at 04, had an amazing ending. There's no reason they will ever go make a 05, and I never want them to, because it has the perfect ending. And they knew when they went out while they were on top, and they knew when it was supposed to end.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Oh my God. I just saw that too. Holy moly.
God.
Well,
Just got some
Jeez, well-
breaking news.
Yeah. Breaking
I think
news.
we're all broken.
Yeah. Well, breaking news. We just got a $200 super chat from Purity Chalice. Oh my God. Thank you so incredibly
Seriously.
much, Purity Chalice. Wow. I just wanted to spread the good vibes. After 16 years of feeling like I've been at a dead-end job in security, I'm finally starting a new career path as a senior lab specialist.
That's awesome.
I'm also moving in August. Everything is happening all at once, and I couldn't be more overwhelmed and excited. Well, we are
That's
so
amazing.
happy for
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
congratulations, because that does seem security to senior lab specialist. That's a good upward momentum.
A huge leap.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade.
Massive. Good for you. We are so also
crap.
happy for you, and thank you for spreading some of your happiness with us. That's so kind of you.
Jeez.
Yeah, and best of luck in your move. Like that's a whole lot of change.
Good luck with all that packing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
at this point, let me know if you need some help.
Steve will be your Pikmin.
There you go.
You got
Hey,
oversized
throw
things to
me
pick
out of
up and
battery.
carry. There you go.
Steve and I will be both your loyal Pikmin for you. If you need help packing, let us know. Jeez. Thank you again so much, and we are so happy for you, and we're, of course, just always honored to have you in our community. So thank you a million times,
Yeah.
Purity Chalice.
Yeah.
So Mega Man. No, I kid.
No. Anything more on this one?
Literally.
Yeah,
guys?
anything more on this one?
Yeah, I can't think of one. I'll be honest. I just can't. I would need hours to come up with an answer that I would feel satisfied delivering. So I think MGS was probably like
Call of Duty.
perfect.
That's a really good one.
Call of Duty should have ended a long time ago, but it's
That's
also
fair.
like
Call
it
of
makes
Duty-
sense why it didn't end. See, the ones that keep going are the ones I like. Like, I don't want Ratchet and Clank to stop. I don't want.
You know what? I would say Assassin's Creed should have ended. Assassin's Creed should have ended at Syndicate, because now it's just a completely different series.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
one that pains me to say, and I can't. I love this series. I never want it to end, because I'm going to love it forever. I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 4, but I think there's an argument to be made that Kingdom Hearts 3 should not have ended the way it did, and it should have been the last one.
I don't think it should have been the last one. I think it should have been the last of the storyline.
Which the last of that
story.
arc.
Yeah,
the last of that arc.
it wrapped up the arc, but no, it didn't, because it still had all these
It
other
didn't.
threads to fill in for the next arc, which
Yeah.
Even
I'm
Melody
on
Memory
this-
wasn't
yeah.
safe of adding more threads
Yeah.
to that arc.
Yeah.
So
I'm on this train until the end of my life, because Kingdom Hearts, let's be honest, will probably outlive all of us. And so I
no,
will
it
be
won't
on this
end
train
until No
the
More
end
is
of my
dead.
life. Okay, that's true. There you go. But I can see why maybe it should have ended with 3, or at least that arc should have been conclusively wrapped up with 3, and then move on from Sora and do something else. But as long as Kingdom Hearts is going, it's going to be Sora, and I'm going to be on that train with him to the very end. So yeah,
we can have a whole entire own discussion about
exactly
where that plot should have ended or how they could have ended it on its own.
That'd be a fun discussion to do. I want to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, the biggest fan on the Kingdom Hearts crew, or sorry, the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan on the GVG crew. You're up, my friend. Obviously. It's your turn.
All right. My topic comes, ironically, from Disney Duncan, who did not ask about Kingdom Hearts. They wrote, "Gotta say, GVG, I'm really enjoying Street Fighter VI, although that begs the question, will this game get the same DLC treatment as Street Fighter V? How many season passes will it get? What characters do you want to see return? And what kind of new characters do you expect?" And yes.
Absolutely.
6 is already a vastly superior game to 5. The moment-to-moment gameplay is much more entertaining, not just to engage in, but also to watch. Like, it's a much more watchable game. It's going to get more season passes because fortunately it got introduced fairly early in the PS5s or the current generation of consoles, right? And so Capcom, I don't think, is going to throw a ton of effort into rushing a Street Fighter VII out the door. And I would bet we get a minimum of 3 season passes for this game. Yeah. I think we're going to get we already know year 1, year 2, and then, I don't see this game suddenly becoming invalid, even with Tekken 8 and Mortal Kombat 1 coming.
No.
I think we're kind of at the beginning of yet another fighting game renaissance where we're going to see these games be like the core 3 that we follow for the next few years. It's definitely an interesting time to be a fighting game fan. As far as the second part of your question, how many or what characters do I want to see return? That's tough. Sagat is like number 1 on the list for me, just because I can't believe he's not in year 1. I would have put him over Akuma. I love my Shotos and I love Akuma, but I would have much rather gotten somebody who's at least a little bit different. I think Akuma will be interesting, but yeah, Sagat would have been top of my list. And I've shouted out tons of others. I could go for hours just talking about this, so I'm going to throw it to the other guys so I don't dominate the time. But new characters is really hard. I guess I'd want to see somebody from a country not yet represented, but I couldn't call out what country that would be right now.
Yeah, it'd be a little hard.
Street Fighter's pretty much hit most of the ones I know.
Maybe Greece?
I guess we don't have a Greek fighter, huh?
Yeah, I guess not. I agree with Steve. Yes, it's going to get the same DLC treatment. Their minimum of 3 seasons. I agree completely. Street Fighter VI is going to have a long, healthy life. For me, the 2 characters I want to see return the most are Sakura and Elena. I love both of those characters so much. Sakura is my favorite Street Fighter character ever. I think she's amazing. Although Kimberly is vying for that position now, I just think she's so cool. And Elena skipped out on Street Fighter V, and I've always found her playstyle fun. I love trolling people with her healing ability. It's just I just like her fun. She has cool energy.
She was a menace in 4 from what I ever.
She was, yeah. I saw some crazy Evo finals with Elena play in Street Fighter 4, and it was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, Sakura and Elena are the fighters I most want to see return. But if I had to pick one, it's Sakura. I just hope they do something more fun with her design than they did in 5. Something about her felt off to me in 5, and it just
they have
didn't
to change her
capture
whole aesthetic because she's not a high school student anymore.
Yeah, and I like the aging up of the characters. I like that progression. I just feel like they could have still had that, but also captured her energy just a little bit differently or better.
I'm sure
I don't
6
know.
would.
I think 6 would. But yeah, those are the characters I'd most like to see return.
What about you, Daniel?
I don't honestly. I mean, I've jumped into Street Fighter with 6 after being away from it for I don't even know how long. So honestly, y'all probably got the answers better than I could answer it anyways. Yeah.
As far as classic characters, my main is Ibuki from 4, so I'd love Ibuki to return.
Nice. Yeah, Ibuki's great.
I think that'd just be a lot of fun to see that as well. And you know what? Let's get some more Street Fighter 3 characters in there. This is post Street Fighter 3. Let's get somebody from there. I'm not sure which character. Sean makes the most sense.
Yeah, he's weirdly absent.
Like they had him appear as a young kid in that, but I feel like Sean has to be coming eventually.
Yeah, I want to see a version of Sean that has mastered on Satsuken a bit more, like because he barely could do a Hadoken. You know, it was a super art for him in Street Fighter 3. So I'd like to see a version of him that has mastered, you know, the core techniques a bit more. I don't want him to be just a straight up Shoto, but I want him to be a bit more like he's studied under Ken a bit longer.
McSpunk, I forgot about this. Makoto, yes.
Makoto's an interesting one. Like, I like the concept of her, but I just don't like playing as her.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't like playing as her, but I like her concept. Also, McSpunk mentioned Dudley, and I would love to see Dudley come back.
Dudley is such a great one to
I
clown
know.
people with too.
He really is
such a jerk in the game.
Yeah.
I not played her at all because I never played Street Fighter V's DLC at all, but I know people love Manat, and I love her design.
I was going to mention her.
Manat would be cool to see come back.
Her moveset was really cool. Just watching the stuff she could do in 5, she was really unique.
As far as new concepts, I don't know.
That's so hard, right? Like because they've done so many. Like, I would trust Capcom. I think that this is the strongest roster of new characters they've had in a very long time. So I'm down for whatever they want to show me. Just don't give us another Fong. Get rid of that guy.
Oh God, not another Fong, please.
I hope Aki is Fong done right, because Aki does kind of remind me design wise of Fong a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna play fast and loose with the the storyline, the timeline, and everything, and just bring Bison back because he's such a fan favorite? They'll find a way, right? They're gonna find a way.
Well, I mean, he resurrects constantly, right?
Exactly. And I think they'll do it.
I think one character, Ed, was already confirmed for year 1, wasn't he?
Yes, and he was a Bison candidate.
He was a Bison
candidate and utilizes Psycho Power, which supposedly all of that originates from Bison. So yeah,
I mean, we already have JP, so.
Maybe we'll get Ed Bison then in Street Fighter 6. Should be a really weird name.
Bison.
Also, Shadow Moape, I agree with you. Bring back any rival schools character you want. All of them. Akira, bring her back again. I don't care. But yes, I would love to see another rival schools crossover with.
Big one. Never been in there before. It's amazing it hasn't been. Hagar needs to be in this. The fact that Hagar has never been playable, come on.
That's wild. That's wild, though, that Hagar's never been playable in one of these games. Huh.
Oh, he's featured so heavily in World Tour. It's like he has to be.
Yeah.
He has to be put in the roster at some point.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Anything else before we move on?
We could go forever just putting out characters.
All right. Cool. Well, all right. My topic this week comes from Dat Alpha Lion, who says, "Seeing Mario RPG come back is huge and really exciting. But shortly after, I was thinking, oh God, do I have to do the 100 Mario Jump challenge again for 100% completion? So my question is, what are some of the hardest or most tedious side quests you've managed to clear in any JRPG?" And I have gone on record many times saying Final Fantasy X is my favorite game in the series. It is. But that game is also the poster child for the worst and most annoying mini-games in any RPG ever. Lightning dodging, the chocobo racing, having to get a negative time in chocobo racing. Stuff like that.
Blitzball.
Blitzball.
Any quest to get your ultimate weapon in that game sucks.
Basically, I don't care which weapon it is. The quest to do it sucks. The rest of the game is immaculate. But my God, I would say FF10 has a lock on the worst memories I have of any RPG based minigame or side quest or anything.
I actually have one better that
blows
anything out of the wet water. I dare you to name something worse than this, because nobody's ever actually attempted this other than my stupid ass, because I had to do a guide for it. Xenoblade Chronicles X, the Blood Lobsters.
I don't know about this because I didn't play
that
X.
quest.
Oh no.
So you have New LA, giant city. There are 100 blood lobsters spread around the city that they're just little plush toys that you got to find, hidden in every little nook and cranny you can imagine, but not super obvious, but also not keeping track of where you discover them. So you have no way to keep track. But what they don't tell you is you have to find 50 at first, and then 50 more the last 50 show up, which require the mech in order to find. So now you're flying all over the city into weird spots in order to try to get this one spot where that blood lobster is, and I spent hours just recording myself flying all around. And when I realized, like, oh god, this is probably a good quest to do a guide for, I had to go back through all my old footage of me finding the old ones so I could find all the points where blood lobster showed up. Everything about this quest sucks. It is so tedious, so hard to keep track of, and don't do it. Just if we ever get it re-released, unless they change it, do not do it. It is not worth it.
That sounds awful. I had that X is the only Xenoblade game I didn't play, so I was not aware of that. But that sounds terrible. Yikes! I'm trying to think of. I mean, FF10 is so overwhelmingly owns all the most horrible mini games I've ever played in any JRPG. But I'm trying to think of others. Oh man, there were a couple. Chocobo Hot and Cold wasn't horrible in FF9, but it got a little tedious toward the end. But I still enjoyed it in its own way. It wasn't overtly, viciously awful like Chocobo Racing in FF10. So, yeah, or even the 100 Mario Jump Challenge, like you said, Alpha Lion. That's a good one. I don't want to do that again. I did it once. That was enough. Daniel, Steve, any ideas over on your side?
So I think this one isn't as bad now. But I played Final Fantasy VII in the 90s, and getting a gold chocobo was like a kick in the nuts trying to do.
So true.
No, I had the guide, and I still couldn't do it. I was like, I'm not bothering with this.
I was all in.
Rough.
I wanted Knights of the Round really bad, and so I was like, I'm doing it. And I don't remember all the particulars. I just pulled up IGN's guide on it to see, which is way better than anything I had available back then, because it was literally just people yelling at each other on game FAQs trying to figure out how it worked. But it's like you have to breed like a mountain chocobo and a river chocobo and then a mountain river chocobo and race it until it's an S class. Like, it was just so much crap. And it took dozens of hours for me to do that.
Or you could get a gold chocobo from defeating, I think it was Ruby Weapon, but that was so hard on itself, and I didn't know how to do it, so I was like, screw it.
That is the one thing in Final Fantasy VII, of all things, that I never did.
Same.
I never beat Ruby Weapon. I beat all the others. I got the gold chocobo, I got Knights of the Round, I got Sephiroth was a joke. I still couldn't beat frickin' Ruby Weapon.
I eventually did beat both, but I remember thinking that both were a gigantic pain in the ass.
Yeah. I remember Emerald Weapon not being too bad. Like, it didn't drive me crazy, but Ruby Weapon I just gave up. That was the point where I was like, okay, I've done everything else there is to do in this game. I'm done. I'm washing my hands of it. I'm good now.
Right. I did just think of one. Oh, go ahead, Derrick.
I was going to ask Daniel since he hasn't said his yet.
Yeah, go for it, man. If you haven't.
It's funny that you mentioned Xenoblade Chronicles, because I thought you were going to say Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But maybe you didn't even get the Blade. The Blade Ursula. You have to do the entire Idol Career side quest for her.
I got very lucky with her. She was one of my earliest Blades.
Oh,
so I was able to start very early. I can totally see why that'd be a problem if you got her very late. But fortunately, it was very early, and I was able to just get kind of naturally do her throughout the entire level her up, excuse me.
Too late. You've been clipped already.
And got it done in a decent amount of time.
Yeah, that's nice. Like 16 or something hours of doing nothing, and her whole chart is locked behind that. And it's just a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking about dodging 100 or 200 lightning bolts in Final Fantasy X. I forgot how many it is.
Something like that.
Too many. I think it's 100. I think it's 100.
What about doing 1,000 jumps in Final Fantasy IX?
Oh, never bothered. So I never bothered, but I forgot about that. That's a good one too.
That takes like 7 minutes to do. If you mess up, you got to start all over again.
What do you get for that again?
Apparently it's 200.
What do you get for that again?
Oh, I forgot what key item you get for that. I don't think I actually ever did it, but yeah, it's 1,000, isn't it 1,000?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was 1,000.
Hold on.
1,000 jumps on that jump rope. And don't do it. These ridiculous, all these ridiculous ones come from Final Fantasy. I've noticed. They sure like to make you put the work in for these rewards.
Also, we were wrong. Shane Newman corrected us. It is 200 lightning bolts you have to dodge in 10. It's not 100. Yeah, it's that's why I wiped it out of my mind.
I was talking about jump rope.
So for the jump rope, 20 jumps get you 10 gil, 50 to 300 jumps get you different cards for the card game. 1,000 gets you the King of Jump Rope key item. And I don't know what that does. I'm gonna see what that does.
Is that just for flex? I'm gonna be really upset if it's just for flexing.
You know, I would say, if this counts, the grind it takes to synthesize the Ultima weapon in Kingdom Hearts 1 sucks.
It is just bragging rights.
It is.
Oh my
I hate that. I hate that grind so much. It's just the worst.
Here's your free Korok poop.
Yeah.
We're doing 1,000.
Well, yeah, if that,
Only go up to 300 so you get your Tiger Racket card and stop.
Yeah. The other one that I thought of while we were all talking, and as y'all know, my favorite game of all time is Chrono Trigger, not even a question. However, the DS and Steam versions add a new side quest called the Lost Sanctum. And the Lost Sanctum is basically just a bunch of stupid fetch quests that you have to like warp across various time periods to complete. There isn't much story value for doing so. The quest isn't really that. It's not riveting. It doesn't feel rewarding with the rewards you get. It's just filler, and it just kind of sucks. It's far from the worst thing out there, but in a game that is otherwise so immaculate, that is so perfect, it really stands out as like a really crappy addition to an otherwise perfect game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I made myself do it because it's Chrono Trigger. I did every single part of it.
Of course you did.
But yeah, of course I did. Steve, did you ever play that version or that part of it?
Okay. I've not done that side quest. I was thinking about starting a new Chrono Trigger playthrough soon, and
Me too.
I'm definitely still not going to do it.
Gotcha. The other one is worth doing though. Dimensional Vortex. That actually is worth doing, I'd say. The other new one they added. But yeah, wow, that was we got some meaty patron topics this week. Thank you, everybody. That does bring us to the end of our patron topics for the week. Please do go check us out on patreon.com/gvgaming. Again, if you support us as the producer tier for just $10 a month, you can support or ask us questions just like the ones we just answered. And of course, we've got a few more super chats to read out, and then we will head off to our Patreon exclusive post show. So first off, we've got Disney Duncan with 2 more super chats. Thank you. First off, $5. To be fair, the MCU is going R-rated with Deadpool 3, so maybe the Dragon Quest series is doing something similar. Let's hope not. Let's really hope not. I don't think anyone wants an R-rated Dragon Quest. I'm sure someone out there does, but that person's wrong. $2. Thank you again. Don't go M-rated with Kingdom Hearts, please, Square. As much as I agree with you, I think M-rated Kingdom Hearts would be hilarious.
It would, but it also will never happen because it's Disney.
Never happen. Yeah, definitely.
I'm here to see you bleed, huh?
Tinker with $2. Thank you. Steve would love Kekai Sense from the Trigun author.
I'm gonna put that on my list.
All right.
I do like Shiro.
This is an incredible name. 500 yen from Shashakawa Shin Shashakawa. Thank you very much. Gotta agree with Derrick. If you need a good anime, I recommend Venom Let There Be Carnage. It's got characters and graphics.
Perfect.
That it does.
Beautiful.
That is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. Enjoyably dumb, but so dumb.
I've not watched it.
Oh man, it's something. It is a movie of all time. I'll just put it that way. Next up, $5 from our good friend RecBCQ. Thank you. I may have mentioned this before, but my first video game at roughly 5 years old was Mortal Kombat 3. My dad could turn off the blood so I could play. Well, that's cool. So at least you could have a way to get into it. Yeah, nice. Next up, Edward Whelan with 15 Australian dollars. Thank you. Random note, at a video rental store I visited when I was a kid, they put the very violent and sexual anime movies and TV right next to the children's section. That didn't last long.
That also happened. It was either next to the porn or next to the other, next to kid stuff. So, yikes.
Next up, Alan Wilkinson with £2. Thank you very much. Mega Man Legends 3. Still waiting for the ending, if I recall correctly. Yes, you recall correctly. We are still waiting to get Mega Man off the damn moon. And I'll probably draw my last breath, and he'll still be there. I hate to think that, but yeah. You recall correctly. Next up, actually our last super chat for the day, $2 from Shadow Mwape. Thank you very, very much. They added Goemon to Smash 64 Remix. Okay, that's cool.
What?
Oh,
That's
really?
legit cool.
That's a good choice.
First thing I'm doing after the post show
awesome.
is watching the trailer for that, because that is really cool.
The 1.4.0, yeah, that's awesome.
Ah, that's so
Nice.
cool. I love Goemon. Nice, nice. Well, everybody, that does bring us to the end of episode 63 of the GVG cast. Thank you all so much, especially for all of your incredibly generous donations. You all are too kind. And thank you all for just giving us your time every week and part of your lovely Friday evening. We love doing this with you every week. As always, we have to give a special thank you to all of our patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to make everything we do here happen and keeping the lights on. We could not do what we do without you, so thank you very much. Also, as always, we have to give an extra special shout out to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above, and those fine, amazing, incredible folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Z Patty, Just Brian, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Blake, Critter XD, Joy Content, Angel Martinez, Vedron, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Azran127, Black King, Joseph Rutkin, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Brady Power, Darchi, Becca, Killamox, Sean Davis, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber CPHT, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Ryaner, Nathan Steele, Puppy Wuppy, Rain and Clouds, The Game Orb, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Rosa Pardo Bowling,
Hi, Mom.
Skull Kid Tiger, Dark Steel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, Derrick, Colin, Blaystar 25, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Keel, Moon Knight, Brendan Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Brainchild, the entire state of Wisconsin, Jim Wakeland, Longboy Shiggy, Aramis Baramis, Dat Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Blaze Collard, Eric, Cat Evie Person 5, Aflac McQuack, Peyton Thiel, Mega Beatman True Blue Reviews, Jung Ant, Ryan Hanley, The Game Jamie, and last but certainly not least, Danny Walsh. Thank you all so much. We love you. Thank you for all your support. You've been amazing to us for all the time you've been around. Seriously, we love you so much. We'll see those of you in our live audience tier at our Patreon at the post show in just a few minutes. But for everyone else, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Good night and good vibes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So we meet again.